Oh,
Okay.
I think we live, baby.
We live, baby. Hey, read our shirts. Look, guys. Look at that right there. Wow. See that? Slide okay. See it up. Yep. Anyway,
Oh,
whatever. It's cool. Just leave it alone. Just leave it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, because I put the chat box
Yeah,
there. That's
there you
why.
go.
That's why can't see it because I put the chat on there. Well, when we start? Okay, look. I don't know why you agree to do some stuff like this if you don't want to talk. Because I'm not a talker. I'm kind of shy.
I'm deaf mute.
Whatever. Anyway, we was thinking about something to talk about today. And we came up with this. Well, we've talked about it before in a little bit, but I guess from what Jermaine is telling me, his views may have changed somewhat, a little bit, a tiny bit, a slight bit. But anyway, so we were talking about whether or not married couples should actually go on like guys and girls trips with their single friends. What's your new perspective?
I took the it changed a little bit. I'll say it's actually yes and no, right? Um, Before it was 100% yes. Um, I think it depends on how much the individual has matured or is how mature the individuals are who's going on the trips. Because there's certain things that you can't do as a married man or a woman that everybody knows that you could do as single people. Single people are gonna be doing single people things. So if you're not, I don't think if you're not mature enough to handle removing yourself from a situation, uh, then maybe you shouldn't. And it also depends on your single friends. If you have single friends that's just out there trying to do everybody or do everything or whatever, if their fun includes sex, then maybe those are not the type of single friends you should go on, whatever the excursion is. So I I believe that it can be done, uh, but she's one of the ones that think that you don't put yourself in that negative environment or things that or where things can happen, which I understand that as well. But I think that I'm sometimes some people do. I don't want to say need time away from their partner, but sometimes you want to go out with your girls or go out with your guys if that's what you like to do. So that's pretty
Yeah,
much.
but going out is different than a trip. I can understand the going out, but you talking about a full blown trip.
So
So
what,
what would be the purpose of that trip at that point?
to hang out with your friends?
And do what?
Hang out with your
And
friends?
do what? Because like, what type of situation you talking about? People have to remove. They should know to remove themselves from.
Anything that's inappropriate and can be detrimental to your marriage or
Like,
relationship. Anything, any situation that's detrimental or inappropriate to your marriage.
yeah,
So
okay.
if
So
I
why do
go out
single
with, if
people
I
go on a
go,
trip though?
wow, what?
What's the reason why most people, if they go on a trip, guys? Okay, like for instance, when we were on our honeymoon on that Miami boat, we saw this group of guys. I don't know if they were all single or not, right? But it's a group of guys. Apparently, they were drinking and stuff. And towards the end of the trip, they didn't have any issue with them girls coming over there and they all dancing. But I'm just saying, so like when guys go on a trip together, like to atmosphere, like we're going to Miami to party, what what is, what does that partying entail?
And if we're talking about single people, that partying and probably entails anything that comes their way.
But that's what I'm
But
saying,
if a
like picking up
married,
people, right?
let's say I was with those guys, right, and it was like four of them.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
four or
four of
five,
them,
yeah.
and I was the fourth one, right? So let's say we remove one of them, and they're sitting there doing all that with drink because for the most part they didn't do anything. They were sitting there, hey, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the girls decided to come over there, and then they decided to interact with them. Well, as the married man,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not going to engage in that type of behavior. So that's what I'm talking about is how mature one can be or how mature one is. If you know before beforehand, because I mean, only person know yourself better than you is God. You should know, all right, I'm going out here. I'm in your head. I'm going out here. I'm going out and have fun with the boys, and I'm run across something. I'm gonna hit it because like that's what's gonna go on in your head before you even leave. And if that's the type of thoughts you have, then you shouldn't even go on the trip at all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go down here with the ideal, I'm gonna hang out with the boys, I'm gonna do this, then without the extra, then you should be all right. Now, again, it goes on the maturity level, depending on how mature you are. Some people think it's okay to look, just don't touch. Well, we don't want to get into the biblical aspect of that, but if what if that man and his partner feels the same way? Or you can look but you don't touch. So if he go down there and that's all he's doing, and he don't engage in any of those activities, then what? So you have to be, that's what I'm saying.
So you have to be, actually, you saying that you have to be engaging, but what about perception though? Because it's my thing. Say them guys over there, like we saw them dudes, and them girls come over there and they all interacting and dance with them and stuff. What if it's 4 guys and 4 girls? So you can supposedly just not remove your, well, not interact. But if somebody from outside looking in, it still may give that perception of you're partaking in that. So what if your spouse sees that?
So how is she gonna see it?
So I'm just giving a hypothetical. Like somebody's on somebody on Facebook Live, there's a video and she sees you and it's 4 y'all guys and 4 girls. What's your spouse supposed to think?
If you remove yourself, she ain't gonna think, or he or she is not gonna think anything.
But how do you? That's what I'm saying. So what do you mean by remove yourself? You just sit there and don't talk to them?
If someone
leave?
Remove you. If someone comes over there, be like, hey, no, I don't do all that. I'm married. So at that point, if she don't want to leave, then you remove yourself. Then you make sure you're far enough away so it doesn't look like anything inappropriate. That's not hard to do.
How many people gonna do that though?
What did I say at the beginning?
I'm just saying. I'm just wondering.
I don't know how many people are gonna do it.
Okay, so then at that point, if
I know I could do it,
if so, then if that's what the purpose of that is, so then they all want to bring some girls back to the room.
Well, I would hope 4 guys wouldn't stand in a room together.
But maybe not. But you could be 2 and 2, right? And they want to bring girls to the room.
Well, I'm. Then at that point, then you have to figure out something. You tell them like, no, I can't do that, or whatever the case may be. First of all,
you gonna tell your friends no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Then hopefully you ain't going nowhere broke. Then you just go get another freaking room. I mean, the point of the situation is removing yourself, because even if that happens, they bring the girls back. We got this big ass suite that for whatever reason got 4 bedrooms or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
So and they bring the girls back. I'm pretty sure don't too many men share a room anyway, right? So they bring the girls back. You just at that point you should feel bad because you're in that situation. Then you try to go out and do whatever, find another room, go whatever. Like you said, there ain't gonna be too many people that's gonna do that. But the other thing with that too is that you have to know your friends, and your friends shouldn't put you in that predicament anyway. If that's what they're gonna do, then and we all share this room, and I'm married and y'all single, well, maybe we should have that conversation before we even take off. If that's what y'all gonna do, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna get my own room. Or maybe I'm gonna have to miss this trip. But if they're your true friends, they're not gonna put you in that predicament. So
I don't know. I think people can consider themselves like true friend and still do some shit because they just immature.
But I don't think either one of my friends will put me in that predicament. Maybe one of them. But with that said, I still know that I have to remove myself.
I know, but that's why I'm saying that with the inherent dangers of even involving yourself in that, because at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to be they can do whatever they want to because they single. So no one's trying to be a damper on a trip. So then if the purpose of the trip, I can understand if you're going on a trip, like maybe there's I don't know, like a woman's conference or a men's conference or something that you all going to. But if the purpose of the trip to party, most people, to them, partying means, especially when they're single, that they may, it ain't like they go on because we just want to have sex, but it may be like oh, well, we go out and party, we go into the bars, we gonna let some dudes buy some drinks, we gonna do all this and that. I mean, that's their concept of partying. So on one hand, it's like, why would you even be in that atmosphere? Because your single people and married people have two different, I don't know what you want to call them.
Ideas of what fun is.
Yeah, ideas of what fun is. That's what I'm saying. And it's not like I'm not saying it's not. It could be innocent fun, but it's still the idea of the fun is not conducive to somebody that's married. I mean, even one time we went on that trip and we was like in the room. It was in a condominium with several rooms, but the dudes all had women there.
What trip?
And so when we went to Myrtle Beach that time,
Who you talking about?
it is. I ain't finna name names.
You talking about them boys that we stayed with?
Yes. But I'm saying, like, so
Okay,
you do have those type
right,
of situations,
so, yeah.
and they all brought women back there. So what if you had been there without me?
Okay,
and then you would have been in that living room with them when the women. I'm just saying that the person is in the living room and the women and they're all drinking and stuff. And you know how people just like, so that's in enough proximity where somebody could have been videotaping that or could have went Facebook Live on that, and then all I see is you and a whole bunch and some dudes with a whole bunch of women in the room.
So at that point, again, it's about removing yourself. Like if you put me in that situation, and I've been in a similar situation like that, and I was actually single. So if I can remove myself away from people and I'm single, then I can remove myself away from people if I'm married. Again, it's the maturity level. And I wasn't even mature at that point.
Right.
So,
but I mean, so then if they meet up with people and they decide, well, we're going to have these girls here the whole trip, what do you do? Then you going to just go off on your own the whole trip? Because that's what I'm saying. So like at that point, what's the purpose of even going on a trip with your friends?
So well, again, then you have to understand that your friends have to understand that you're not about that, right? Matter of fact, I'm not gonna say any names either, but I had one individual that I went somewhere with, and I was somewhere and he was somewhere, and he decided that he wanted to have company. And the individual, I kind of knew who they were, but they maybe didn't want me to know that I know that this individual and them was messing around. So at that point, he told me like, hey, I'm having company. What time are you going to be back at the room? So then, I give him a time, and then, by the time I get there, his company is gone. So those type of discussions have to take place. So I would use that to say, if somebody and me and my friends are out, like, hey, bro, we get ready to go do, and what time you coming back, or whatever. So it's a respect issue that has to be there. And again, I personally, if that's going on and I have my own room, then I'm just gonna go in my own room. So if it's 4 guys and 4 girls, and I have my own room, that girl gonna be sitting in the living room while all them other people are doing whatever they're doing, because I'm gonna be in my room. Now she comes knock on my damn door, a dang on door, then we're gonna have a whole nother issue. Now everybody gonna have to get out, even the dudes that came with. So it's a level of maturity in what you want. I don't, well, you know this. I'm not the one that goes says that blame it on the alcohol, so to speak. So if I got to get so inebriated where I can't think and act accordingly, then I don't need to be going anywhere unless it's with you. Period. I don't care if it's on a trip. I don't care if it's to the grocery store. I don't care if it's to the bar. If you're not there, I don't need to go. If I'm going to get that inebriated where I'm going to sit there and say, oh, it was the alcohol fault, because the alcohol, yes, it bothers your, what is it, the word I'm looking for? It
lower your inhibitions.
Thank you. It affects your ability to think appropriately and properly. But if you know it does that, and you know that you're going to be around people, then around that type of situation, and you don't drink like that, because you know what type of friends you have. And that's my point. If you know what type of friends you have, and all of that is, with guys, I don't know how y'all women look at it, but with guys, all of that is discussed anyway. Like, we're gonna go down. Like, I've been around guys and like they married, had girlfriends or whatever. And, you know, they matter of fact, I ain't even gotta do that. When we went to the Super Bowl, we around those guys, and say, oh man, we go in Tampa Bay. We going to the Super Bowl. This, that, and the third, and it's a guys trip, is what they said. And then he said, oh, you can't bring your wife. First thing I said, oh, my wife going with me. She my best friend. However, these guys were married. I'll put it like this: when we got down there, they had their other women with them, right? So you don't think that they discussed that beforehand? Like, oh man, yeah, we're gonna go down here, we're gonna tell our wives, and then we're gonna bring XYZ. Yeah, that's all discussed beforehand. I know guys that has went to the mountains that was, you know, married and had other girlfriends or whatever, and they took the other women. That is discussed beforehand. So you can't discuss things like that with me, or my friends wouldn't discuss things like that with me if they know that I'm not about that, and I don't do that. That's like me being somebody being a crackhead, and then your friends come and say, hey, or being a weed head, and know that you stop smoking weed. Why would they come ask you to go with them to smoke weed?
So some of them do though.
Yeah, but then you know your friends. That's my point.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. I think would it be hard? Again, it depends on the individual, I believe. So I think you could go on a girl's trip and behave yourself. I think I know I could go on a guy's trip and behave myself. So now if you ask the earlier version of me that, then yeah, I'm probably going on the guy's trip that we're gonna have fun, and then whatever come our way, we gonna make it happen. So like I said, I think yes and no, it depends on the individual.
And their friends, apparently.
Well, you know what type of friends.
Because I know one time there was a guy, I can't remember, in a group, and he was talking about how he didn't want his wife, I can't remember if she's wife or girlfriend, somebody, but he didn't want her going on this girls trip with her friend, particularly because her friend was known for basically just picking up dudes and sleeping around with dudes. And so people were just saying like he was wrong, but I can kind of understand that though, because, and this is different, I guess, than it is with women. There's more risk involved in that than they would be with guys. So I guess if guys pick up random chicks or whatever, most time guys can handle themselves, I guess. But this is what I'm getting at.
Oh, the risk
that way. So like I could understand if her friend is one of them type of people that she's that reckless where she'll just pick up any dude and bring him back to the place and sleep with himself. I can see where there may be some issues in that, because first you may be picking up a serial killer who then put you at risk if you're with her, or he may go in and you go into your room like you were saying before. Maybe y'all sharing a place, but it's like y'all got your own separate room. You go into your room, but then he does something to her, and then comes in and try to rape you or something. Like it's just like those in type of inherent risk too. And so I guess what you're saying, like, it's important to know your friends because that's important. But I can see where someone would have issue with that if their spouse was trying to go somewhere with a person that was like that.
Well, from that perspective of you saying I agree, it's different with women, right? So it's a little bit different with women. So I agree with that. But I don't know if you had friends that. So then we get into the conversation that we had with me, you, and Trey about trusting people.
Mm-hmm.
Then because I trust you with everything in me, so if you were to go somewhere, if you was with a group of girls and that's all they did, if that's your friends, see, I'm you know, I'm a believer of if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it anyway. I don't care if you can be with a whole bunch of Christian women. If you want to bust it open for somebody, you want to bust it open for somebody. Because that's
but I'm talking about the danger aspect of it. So that has nothing to do with trusting me.
Well, we mean the danger as far as the like what you said as far as well, yeah, then that's a little bit different.
That's what I'm saying. Women are I don't want to sound sexist because that's not what I'm trying to do at all. But I'm saying like most of the time someone's getting raped as a woman that's getting raped as opposed to me.
Yeah, but then you so even what
So-
you're saying,
so-
guys get robbed too.
No, yeah, and so that's dangerous on the guy's part too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think like I understand where some spouses would have issues with that because especially if they're saying, well, your friends are known to be wild, and so they can trust you all you want. I mean, and you very well probably wouldn't do anything, but that doesn't mean that the situation itself doesn't have inherent risk in it that you could avoid had you not put yourself in that situation.
Well, it does. Even like you was going back to what you said. What happens if, let's say, I'm in the living room by myself, and the guys talking about they going to a club, yada 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 yada, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going out to the club tonight, and we out on wherever we at vacation. But then they come back with a group of girls, right? Now, if I want to indulge in that activity, then fine. Well, actually, it ain't fine, depending on what happens. I mean, depending on like if they drunk or whatever. But if on the same token, when they get there and everybody, like you said, going on Facebook Live, and this, that, and the third, then and you see that, yes, that's gonna look suspicious as all outside, right? And you probably would get upset. But then I go to the point of how well do you trust me? So how well do you trust me? Or and if she was on foot, I trust you. Now if I see it, yes, I'm gonna ask you about it. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna be the one that get all upset like that. I'm gonna call you and ask you what's going on, or you having fun, da da da. So I'm gonna be a little bit more understanding and be like, hey, make sure you know yes, this and the third. Because again, to me, if you got to go on a trip just to cheat anybody, right? Is it easier? Maybe, but that's in you anyway. And if that's in you, that's going to be in you whether you're on vacation with your girls or whether you going to the grocery store.
Yeah, but ain't that, well, we're not even just talking about cheating though, because again, if you're okay with me being with my friends and they got a group of guys in a hotel, you're not gonna be a little concerned like you don't know what them dudes are up to.
Well,
like, why are you? That's my point. My point is, yes, you trust your spouse to not cheat, but there's other issues that's aside from cheating that come into play. Again, there's the perception thing. So even if somebody on Facebook Live, it could be other people seeing that, and then all of a sudden he out there with a bunch of dudes and a bunch of women, and he ain't even treating his wife right. Yeah, he out there cheating too. He's just like one of them. I mean, it's all that type of stuff.
Go.
I'm just saying. So you got that going on, and then then you have, like you said, what if the women are setting the dudes up to be robbed?
Well,
or what if one of the women had a?
So we're going into a whole nother topic.
No. I'm just saying. I'm talking about all the inherent risk of it. So I'm saying, so what? And then what if the women had This is what I go through. No, I'm just saying. What one woman had a husband that followed him. Now y'all all dead because your friends was out there trying to get some vagina, and they brought that to you. Or what the guys are decide they want to Mickey everybody in the room.
Well,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just stuff like that. I'm saying.
What if when we get off this computer, I stop breathing and die? Like we can play the what if game all day long, right?
We're talking about inherent risk. So in that, in putting yourself in a situation, that's what we're talking about.
When you put yourself
I'm saying we're talking about. I get that, but I'm saying we take risks. But I'm saying when you go somewhere, especially as a married person with single people, there are certain things you need to be mindful of. I mean, like you said, you need to know why your friends are going on that particular trip. If the whole purpose of the trip is to go party, then maybe you shouldn't be going with your single friends.
So then then I can go on a trip with you and party, and then something still happens like that.
We're not swingers though, so we ain't trying to bring nobody back to the room. I mean, I'm confused. I'm just saying.
So what I'm saying is to you, if they go, I get it. You're talking about the inherent risk
in the relationships.
I get it, and
the whole thing with other.
So my point is, I don't. Part of me thinks if your spouse has a problem with it, this will be the last thing I'm gonna say about it. If your spouse has a problem with it, basically you shouldn't go. If your spouse, I don't want to say, I'll use the word trust, but if the spouse trusts you or the spouse is okay with it, then you should go, only if you're mature enough to understand that you take yourself out of all situations that could look inappropriate, could be inappropriate, could be perceived as inappropriate. But like the thing that you said about coming, I said about people coming in and go on Facebook Live. Well, somebody can go and be on Facebook Live, and I mean, both of these are hypothetical. Excuse me. Somebody can be on Facebook Live, and you're in the park or you're walking up the street and talking to somebody, and then that could look funny if you're that type of person, or if I'm that type of person. Like, well, why were you talking to him for 5 minutes? And you know what I mean? Like, it could have been somebody talking to about a business thing, or anybody. You could have been telling him, yeah, I'm married, but I'm a lawyer, and like, it's all kind of things that could happen. So if you see a video,
yeah, but I can that's about party atmosphere where there's people drinking and partying, but it's
so I still say I still stay steadfast on what I'm saying. If you as an individual, you should be able to remove yourself from that. Mm-hmm. If you don't think that you'll be able and capable to remove yourself from that, then you shouldn't go. Also, I'll add this, since we're talking about drinking. If I drink so much where I get drunk to the point I get so inebriated that I can't move, or I just pass out or something like that, if that's my definition of fun, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go to that neither, because at that point, then that really heightens the opportunity for something inappropriate, or you to put yourself in an inappropriate way. I don't drink like that. So that gives me a little bit of personal, not knowing that I'm mature as well. I have too much to lose. I personally, the individual has to be like that to know that they have too much to lose, and that type of fun is not worth it. If that's not instilled in your mind, then it's a lot easier to get in those situations. I'm not going to go somewhere again and have a lot of alcohol in my system to even put myself in those situations. I'm always going to be conscious of what's going on and this, that, and the third. And like you said, I understand the risk. Like, those girls can come back and their husband followed them, and I go in the room and he just running there and shoot up everybody. But like, I could walk in the grocery store, how this world is, and get shot up. So it's just a chance. Nobody thinks about that when you're going to have fun. Now,
right, that's what I'm saying. But so it depends on the type of fun you're talking about.
Okay, so then that goes down to so that's to me, that's like the same situation. It's notorious for being.
Yeah, but everybody is okay. But everybody don't have bachelor parties, though. That's
not the point. We're talking about. I'm asking you.
Yeah, if your friends are gonna throw you a bachelor party and there's some BS going on, then you probably shouldn't, or you should probably tell them ahead of time. These are the guidelines for our bachelor party.
So then,
because what I'm just saying.
You may. That's my point. Like you said, then that should be brought to the attention of everybody you're going with. Look, I'm not on that BS. I'm not doing this. Guys, if y'all gonna do that, then you need to tell me so I can get my own space, have my own room, or I can't go if that's the type of time y'all gonna be on. So 9 times out of 10, I would say this anyway, right? If it's a group of guys, so let's say it's 4 guys going, and they got 2. It's not too many times guys share a room anyway. Mm-hmm. But let's say it's supposed to be 2 guys in this bed, like y'all women do. 2 guys in this bed. I mean, pause. 2 guys in this room that has a double bed, and 2 guys in the other room that has a double bed. If that's the agreement, right? Then if I know that they're going down there to do that, because it has to be a conversation that has to be had. Because look, you dudes are single. We know that. So if y'all trying to go down there and do whatever, man, I'm gonna get my own spot. So then I ensure.
But that's okay. So that's my point, though. But that's the other point you bring up. If they're saying from the get-go that's what they're going down there to do, what's the purpose of you going with them? Or do you just say, well, okay, well then let me know when y'all go on your next trip, and that's not what y'all on? Why are you even going with your friends if they're telling you ahead of time that's what they're going down there to do?
Now that's an interesting.
Because that sounds crazy to me. Your friends told you we finna go down there and party, pick up some bitches, blah, 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 and you gonna go anyway with them? The fuck you going out there for? I'm just asking. I mean, I just want to know.
Ooh, so now I can contradict myself if I answer that like that. But I'm gonna contradict myself because that's a great point. Can't be mad at you for that point. 9 times out of 10, when that conversation happens, then I already know that I'm gonna have my own room, right? But to your point, if I already know that that's gonna happen, why the hell am I going? Because I'm already can potentially be putting myself
in a situation that you don't need to be.
However, to that point, I already know also that's what type of time they on. So if we go out, quote unquote, let's say we go to Miami, we go out to a club, then I already know what type of time they on. So I know I gotta leave earlier, or I know I have to or I got my own room. So that at that point I remove myself from the situation because I got my own room, I got my own space. So they can pick up whoever they want to pick up. That's
yeah, but
business.
I'm just okay. I get that, but I'm saying really at that point, there's no reason for you to even be on that trip.
Yeah,
because they're going to be spending their time doing that the majority of the time. So you're going to majority of the time be off on your own. So why are you even on that trip?
I don't think I'll be off on my own.
I'm just saying, but you don't never know because sometimes dudes pick up women on a trip and they spend that whole. If they're doing it in the group, they may spend that whole damn trip with the women.
Yeah, them ain't the type of friends I had.
But I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying? The women sleep in the room with them, and then next, everybody talking about they on the same.
So those ain't the type of friends that I used that I had that I hung around.
I know, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if you had,
we were picking up one, getting rid of her, getting another one.
Okay, well then that's even worse.
But it may be worse, but I'm trying to tell you is that's not true.
Okay, but they still had a woman around them the majority of the time.
No, they didn't. Everybody's not that suave and smooth to do that.
Wait, no, I'm saying you said if your friends. I'm saying if you talking about you were dropping off one woman and picking up another.
Yeah, that was me. That wasn't no playing.
My point is that means the majority of time, if a person is, say, even if your friends are doing that, right? Even if they're saying, no, we just gonna try to go down here and we trying to hit when we can. So even if they're saying, okay, we're gonna go out one night, we're gonna get these women. The women may sleep over there because most of the time you ain't gonna. A lot of times they ain't having sex with nobody that they bring home from the club and kicking them out the same night. I mean, sometimes people do, but a lot of times they're not gonna do that. So that means in the next day, maybe y'all get a few hours together, just the guys, but then they going back out again and pick up some more women. So that's not. I don't.
Why are y'all?
Why are you even on a trip?
I've never went on a guy trip like that, but I don't. At that point, I don't. You talk. It seems like you're talking about the bike world now a little bit, right?
I'm not. I'm just
because
saying.
Hold on. Because here's the thing. I don't see
because that's bike trips, do they?
No, not necessarily guy trips, but that's like bike week stuff. You're talking about you get a girl and then you stay with her this time. Nobody does that. Like if I'm going to,
I'm saying if your guys, if you're saying you asked them and they said no, this is what we're going down there for.
Yeah,
to pick up women, blah blah.
If you wanted to spend, but if you want to spend time with a woman like that, you're gonna spend time with your girl, your wife, or whatever. You're not gonna go down there and meet a woman and then spend all your time with your vacation time with her. No, that ain't how that works. Well, let me say this. That's how I if I was single and I was going on a guy's trip, I'm not going to spend all my time with one woman. No, like on vacation.
I didn't say that.
That's what you just said.
I'm saying if they're picking up women, even if it's different women, but if that, okay, I'm saying if the goal of the trip, okay, their idea of fun is going down and picking up women, then why are you even on the trip if they're telling you that's what they're doing that's what the fun of the trip is? Because at that point, it's not like they're saying, oh, well, we're going on a trip because we got a snorkeling set up, we gonna go horseback riding. They're going down there saying, no, we going down there to party, get fucked up, and be with and see who we can hit. I mean, that's what they're telling you. So then why are you even going? That's what I'm saying. It'd be different. It's like, oh no, it's a male bonding trip.
Males ain't.
Well, how do y'all say that? But whatever y'all say, you say no, we going down there because we just getting.
So you have. So it's several
multiple types of trip that Absolutely. You talking about they're going on. Absolutely. So if they tell you ahead of time, I'm going down there and this is what we're trying to do.
So the underlying thing is this: when it comes to men, right? You have those group of people that actually come right out here. We're gonna go down here, blah 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 blah. but I'm just gonna be a male snitch. Most guys, when they're taking those trips anyway, I don't know if it's like this with girls, but most guys when they're taking those trips, we're going out here to have fun. You're away from your woman, whatever the case may be, if that's what you are into, and you're going to quote unquote window shop, right? When I say window shop, just look. But that's why they call it getting lucky. If you quote unquote get lucky, and that's what they call it. Then you go do whatever you do, yada 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 yada. The people that I hang with, we don't go to we don't I can't remember a time that I said, "Oh, we're gonna go get some chicks and da 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 da." But we have went.
Well, you don't say men talk about that type of stuff before y'all go.
Well, yeah.
So I thought you talked about whether or not you're gonna go down there to bang.
No, I said no. I said that should be talked about.
Oh no, you said men. You said men talk about that stuff before they go. Well, you gave the example of the Super Bowl thing. You was like, you don't think they talked about that before they went. So you said,
well, yeah, no. I'm talking about if you're going to, if you tell it, well, that's kind of a different scenario a little bit because.
But I'm just saying, so if guys are going out at a party, you saying that they vocalize that to each other. Like if you guys are planning a guy's trip, in that planning of that trip, you're going to say what you're going down there to do.
All right. Well,
like you said, window shopping. I mean, even if it's window shopping, you're gonna say, "Hey, we're gonna go down there and see." Blah, blah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to be all. It's gonna be like, "Oh, we going down there. We gonna have sex on this night, this night." But I'm saying if they tell you,
well,
the purpose of the trip.
Okay, so I think you're getting a little bit confused. Like when I use the Super Bowl analogy, right? That trip was and because those guys had other people that they were going to take that wasn't their wives.
I get that.
So everybody that was like the side chick.
But I'm saying you use that example of saying that men talk about their trips, and you use that as an example, not me. So I'm saying, do men talk about their trip? And if they talk about their trips, how in depth do they talk about their trip? Because if the guys are talking about their trips and saying, "Hey, this is what we're going down there to do," then isn't that the point where the married guy should decide whether or not he even go? If you know your friend's going to go down there to party in that manner, isn't that the time where you say, "Okay, yeah, I'm just going to remove myself from this trip because I don't want to have no issues at home. I don't want blah blah blah, but I'm just going to remove myself."
Yeah, but so that's what you should. You absolutely should. Right, but that's where guys fall short of respecting their situation, or respecting whatever the marriage relationship they're in. Right, the earlier me, well, I'll say it like this: the earlier me, I probably would go anyway, and even with that, I probably would fall into the trap of I could go down there with great intentions. The earlier me. Mm-hmm. And go down there, and I probably will fall in the trap because I wasn't smart enough to remove myself. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference between now. I think that if I had a group of guys that's going, saying, we going out here to party, yada yada, and I know that that's what they do in it, because sometimes you can know things about people that they don't have to be said, but
right.
If you know that's what type of time they on in their everyday life, 9 times out of 10 when they go down there, they're gonna be on that type of time as well. So therefore, now I can remove myself from those situations because even if I was single, I don't think I would be doing single things, so to speak, like that. I still would remove myself. For instance, I don't really like bachelor parties because of the ones that I've been to where you had strippers and all of that. Strippers has never been my thing, even growing up. So when I went to one and I didn't like what was going on, I automatically left. And it was dudes in there, doing whatever, spending their money, paying for whatever, doing however and doing what they do. Well, that's them. That's on them. That's fine. I don't judge nobody. But it wasn't my atmosphere. And I don't know if I was single or not, but I didn't like the atmosphere. So I removed myself. Mm-hmm. So if I can do that then, and I was, out there in the streets anyway, then as a married man, I'll be able to do it as well. I could go out to the club, to the bar with my friends, and they start hollering at women, and that's on them. What I'm not going to do is if one of my guys are hollering at this chick and she has a homegirl, What I'm not going to do is put myself in the vicinity to make it look like I'm sitting there trying to holler at a homegirl. If they're kikiing and cackling, if he's kikiing and cackling with them, then I'm going to make sure that I'm, I'm going to make sure it doesn't look, as you said, perception is not that we're trying to pick them up. If he go dance with her, I'm going to the other side of the bar or something, because I'm not going to be sitting there beside her. And people probably be, oh, that's BS. Yeah, no, because I'm not. I don't have time to sit there and be like, no, babe, it wasn't like that, because I'm not going to bring that type of energy to my home and to my relationship. So, it can be done, but then also when you do that, I believe that when you go out, anytime you go out, whether it's on a girls trip, whether it's you going to a club or me going to a club with whoever, and whoever you go with, you have to have that level of trust anyway, that I believe anyway, that you're not going to do that or anything like that. Because if I tell you I'm going out to a club with whoever, right, and I go out with them, or a bar with whoever, and I go out with them, well, if it's in me to do those things anyway, I'm gonna do it.
All right.
If I go on a guy's trip and it's in me to do those things, I'm gonna do it. One thing that I do know, and I've always stuck to this, is you can cheat at 1 o'clock in the morning, or you can cheat at 1 o'clock in the evening. So if I go tell you I'm going to the club and I'll be home at 1, but I leave and go at 10, I got 10, 11, 12 to do whatever I'm going to do and come home like nothing happened. And I could be doing that in my everyday life. So if I can stop myself locally, then I can stop myself abroad. And that's pretty much all I got to say.
But I'm going to just make one more point, though. I think one thing that you keep thinking about with regards to trust is dealing specifically with infidelity. I trust you. Like, so you're saying, like, if this person's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. So it's not always about the cheating aspect, though. My thing is that I would trust you to, like you said, if you went out to the club or whatever with your friend, I would trust you to, like you say, remove yourself from that situation. If your friends are planning the guys trip and they say, this is what we're going to do, my trust in you would be that you would decide to opt out of that trip. Because to me, a breakdown of trust can be you deciding I'm going to go on this trip anyway with your friends, knowing what they're going to do.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know that.
No, but if I happen to find out, you could have not did anything at all. But so then if I happen to find out, it's like, okay, well then I can't even trust you to not even put yourself in the realm of the situation. That's not the point.
That is very much the point.
That is not the point.
How you going? Okay.
Okay, remember I was talking about, like, what if you seen on Facebook or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I'm saying, so like, if I happen to see something like that.
What do you mean? See something like what?
Like that type of situation that we're talking about, like that environment. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Then the trust has nothing to do necessarily with whether or not you're going to cheat. It's the fact that you didn't make a decision that I thought you would have made out of respect for me. That's what I'm trying to say. So say if you sat there at the bar and talked to the girl and it wasn't anything like you was trying to holler at her and stuff, my issue would be that from what you're telling me, you're saying you would have removed yourself from there, but you didn't do that. So that's a breakdown of trust.
Well, yeah, I agree to that.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, if your friends are saying we're going on this type of trip and you don't opt out of it, and you know that's what they're going to do, that could be a breakdown of trust for a person too, because they're trusting you to make better decisions than that.
I agree to that 110%. So, but now when I'll say this too, right? If situations like that happen, so let's say you go somewhere and I see you. I'll give you a prime example. When you went out with whoever you went out with that time, and then the individual posted he buying us shots or buying me shots and had all that liquor lined up right there, right? You remember what I'm talking about?
Were we married then? I don't think we were married then, though.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's still a relationship.
Okay.
So, but they had all them shots right there, right? Now, that could have been a situation if I was a different type of individual that went left, because it's like, now why are you letting this guy buy all of y'all shots, right? So because my mind doesn't go that far, or I don't worry about things like that, then that's the reason it wasn't an issue. and I think you know that about me. So me knowing if I'm sitting there and a woman decides she wants to buy everybody shots or buy me and whoever I'm with shots and this, that, and the third, and she could be on live and I don't even know y'all friends on Facebook or whatever, because that's how a lot of people get caught not knowing. I'm probably not going to take the shot from her anyway. Whether just for the simple fact of the matter is, if I know you don't like those type of things, why am I going to do it? And that's my whole point with that. So I would try never to intentionally do anything that I know you don't like. And that's all I got to say.
But the individual is lying anyway. How can you know I was buying? Some dude bought her shots. Anybody buy me a shot? But again, women totally different, have different inherent risks with that, because even if a guy was buying us shots like that could bring a whole host of other problems. Because some dudes get pissed off. Oh, I've been buying you drinks. How come you ain't fucking talking to me now?
Yeah.
And now they potentially involved you in a whole situation. Because I'm out there getting shots from dude, letting some dude buy me drinks, and because he's buying me drinks, he thinks that I'm supposed to talk to him or
I buy my own drink. She coming home.
But I'm just saying. So like,
I buy somebody a drink, they're gonna be sleeping right in this bed with us.
So I'm just saying. So like, that's a whole different thing with women, because women have gotten harassed by stuff like that. Now I gotta call you because some dude and grabbed on me or some shit. Me. But that's what I'm saying. Because I was letting him buy me drinks.
Well, yeah, you let him buy them, so you had to give him what he wants. Right? Nothing do with that.
But that's my point. Like, just certain things I think people need to be more mindful of. Girls trips or whatever. I just don't. The other things, I don't see anything that I would be doing on. I don't really see the. I don't know. I don't want to say purpose, something like that, but at this point in my life, I don't, unless it's like just like we're trying to bond or something, I don't see the purpose of going on a trip, an actual trip with my friends who I know probably want to be able to talk to dudes and blah, blah, blah. My single friends that want to do this and that with guys. I just don't see the purpose of that.
Well,
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to be the oddball out. So it doesn't make sense for me. Why am I even there? I would feel more inclined to go on trip with somebody else, a female. Like if I had a female friend that was married, or like for like my niece, for example, she said, "Hey, let's go on a girls trip." I'll go with her because she ain't gonna be. That ain't what that trip is gonna be about. Me and her
goes
gonna
back
actually
to what I said in the beginning about knowing who you going.
No, but I'm saying because she's not single though. Because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with single people who go on these trips and want and eventually hook up with somebody or get lucky, like you said. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying like, at that point, like why am I even there? And that's what my whole thing was. Well, so you go with like-minded people, or you go in groups with other couples, and I think you just have just as much fun. I can't imagine any type of fun I can have with my single friends that I can't have with you, or I can't have with other couples that are like me.
You can go dance with other guys and let them rub on you.
Yeah, but I'm not that. Shut up.
Because I don't dance.
Well, whatever.
All I do is this.
Whatever, but dudes on, I don't like people touching me, so that's different.
Well, so. With that being said, what say you guys? We've been on here for an hour, and I'm tired.
Almost an hour, yeah.
Yeah, well, 45, 48, 49 minutes.
So
good night. Till next time.
You want a shot?
No, I don't want to get shot. So I wouldn't go on the trip because I don't want to get shot. We got a lot of guns in the house. And I don't feel like her being on the ID channel.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
What happened? We got a flag. No, what is this?
Oh my God. Never mind. Bye, guys. Good night. Have a good night.
Peace.
See y'all later.
Next week.
Yeah. I don't know if Sunday's a good day. Maybe so, but we'll see. All right. Bye.
What